Okay then. Some of these questions and answers. So the question, can I take a bath in this? The answer, just don't. Even a small bottle of lubricant will eventually find its way to the bottom of your feet. If you bathe in this, you will become frictionless and have to slide on the ground to get help. This goes for lubricated wrestling as well. Just don't. It won't end well.
Wow.
This is fantastic. Okay, I'm gonna read this one. I'm just gonna read some random ones. So this is another review, 3 stars. So Brad and I will be grand marshals at this year's San Diego Pride Parade, and we were looking for just the right touch to add a bit of pizzazz to our appearance. So when we stumbled across the Pasha natural water-based lubricant 55-gallon drum, we felt we'd struck gold. Just enough volume to soak an entire parade of spectators, and yet fits easily in our float. Double win. Now, how to spray the lube on the excited onlookers? Why, by water pump gun, of course. To test out our delivery mechanism, we purchased a drum for our backyard and set up a slip and slide. I had Brad charge towards me down the slide, and I fired at will. I hope to imagine he was a Klingon bird of prey. Target the explosion and fire. What I didn't expect was that Brad's forward momentum would cause him to crash into me, upending the entire drum along with us. Utter chaos. Our unfortunate cats, who had come out to judge our activities as cats will, were caught in the oncoming deluge. Looking like drowned rats, they howled and sped across the yard in hysterical circles, then tried for 10 minutes to climb a tree. Once again, the neighbours thought we'd set fire to something, so the LAFD arrived shortly. Try explaining any of this to a stranger, especially a hunky one in uniform. Hose me down? I offered. He kindly did, then retrieved our cat out of the tree with only minor scratches to his face. They aren't speaking to us, by the way. We decided against soaking the Pride Parade revelers, lest it create an incident that could upstage us entirely. But we do have a great new weekend fun activity. Jesus Christ.
Poor cats.
I know. Let me see. Let me. Oh, this is a fuck. Oh, fuck my life. This is a long one. It's called Backyard Carnival of Death. I'll read this quickly and then we'll call it. Okay, so I'm a risk analyst for a major insurance firm, so when my wife and I are planning a birthday party for our 7-year-old, Crispin, my mind naturally turned to liabilities. We settled on the theme of a backyard carnival, complete with swing set, a trampoline, merry-go-round, and a giant slip and slide, so I carefully inspected the equipment for safety. It all seemed sound. We have a home on a bluff overlooking the ocean. As it happened, on the day of the party, our neighbours were trimming their ficus trees. We heard the sound of their wood chipper buzzing occasionally from the other side of our tall hedge. It was a little irritating, but not disruptive. Excuse me. The party started off wonderfully. A clown we'd hired made balloon animals. Crispin eagerly opened his presents, and all the children enjoyed cake and fruit punch. The weather was mild, the skies cleared. It seemed a perfect day. Then we brought out the slip and slide. The problem with water slides is what we call in the trade
disconnected from your channel.
Someone doesn't like this. Distributed water deficiency zones, or in layman's terms, dry spots. If a child hits one of these, it can put the brakes on the fun and set them slowing down a path of medical claims, contusions, concussions, lacerations, abrasions, whiplash, backrash, and disc impaction. And that's just for starters. From there, it's a slippery slope towards major litigation. To avoid even the remote possibility of such injuries, I invested in this 55-gallon drum of water-soluble personal lubricant. The idea that the children could enjoy the slide in complete safety, then wash off in the hose before their parents came to retrieve them. With that in mind, I dipped each child into the vat before allowing them to queue up for the slide. The slip and slide itself performed admirably, as did the lubricant. That, in fact, was the problem. Due to the slight downhill gradient of our yard, the children built up so much speed that they skid across the lawn and into a retaining wall at the other end of our property, with sufficient force that I had to put an end to the activity. I endeavoured to roll up the mat, no easy task, as the lawn surrounding the slide was now itself lubricated, and I struggled to maintain my footing. When I looked up from my labour, I grasped for the first time the scope of my liabilities I had unleashed, a horde of extremely well-lubricated 7-year-olds hyped up on sugar and desperate for fun. I saw young Eliza Gimmelman climb onto the trampoline. She began jumping, but the pad soon became so slick that she lost all control. Her wild flailing unfortunately fell into harmonic synchronization with the motion of the springs, propelling her even higher until she soared above the trampoline's safety enclosure, over the hedge and into the neighbour's yard. There came a ghastly grinding sound that I can tell from the crimson plume that followed. It would be a total loss. Twins Jeremy and Mason Lafferty were on the swing set. Having attained the swing's full range of motion, they were apparently having difficulty holding on, At that point, the swings became human catapults. Masons separated on the back swing, arcing over the roof of our home towards the street beyond. I surmised from the screeching tires, car horns, and screams of horror that he was also unrecoverable. A terrified Jeremy soon lost his grip as well, sailing forward over the bluff and plummeting 300 feet down the ice-cold, shark-infested waters of the San Francisco Bay. An open claim, but not promising. The rest of the children were clinging to the merry-go-round. Having just witnessed the violent deaths of at least 2 of their playmates, they were no longer in the mood for fun. However, the lubricant had dripped from their glistening bodies into the central cog, allowing it to spin far faster than it was designed to, and this, likely combined with other factors, their relative weight distribution, the slight incline of the ground caused their motion to become self-sustaining, and the centrifugal force built upon itself until they became a blurry, screaming disc of human suffering. They began to fly off like cannonballs. Martin Duckworth was the first to go, causing significant structural damage to our greenhouse. Lisa Aurelio shattered a line of ceramic garden gnomes, and Ethan Green slammed into our Audi Q7 so hard it had to be ridden off, as tragically did he. Several other children left what would look like gingerbread man indentations in the siding of our home. It was terrifying. When the wheel finally came to a stop, there was only one child aboard. As luck would have it, it was our own beloved Crispin, huddled in the centre of the merry-go-round, weeping. My wife ran to him and hugged him with all the might of a relieved, traumatized parent. A little too hard, as it turned out. Lubricated as it was, he shot from her arms like a wet bar of soap, up 15 feet in the air, landed on the trampoline, and then soared in a half gainer over the hedge into the wood chipper. Since then, I've asked myself 1,000 times, is there anything I could have done differently? But in the end, no actuary table could have predicted this bloodbath. I could only conclude this was an act of God, and that, to me, is truly terrifying, because we're not covered for that.